Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of the long-awaited FDL Central, where we celebrate our community by discussing the most recent FDL action. My apologies about that. But we celebrate the most recent FDL action from the previous week, and we look ahead to the upcoming FDL action. I am your host, Debbie. And to kick things off, I'm not alone here on this episode of FDL Central. I have two fantastic co-hosts, of course. That being with Mr. Chris with a K and Mr. Galloway Sackett. These fantastic men. They were here with me on the previous episode for this season. But enough being said, how are you guys doing?
Oh, fan-freaking-tastic, Debbie. Week 1 felt like it couldn't come soon enough, and now that it did, we got a lot of good results, I think. This has been the closest week 1 that I think FDL's ever had, and it just it just gets better every time, and it's so nice to say.
Oh, absolutely. I think this is definitely going to be one of the more competitive seasons that we've seen in quite a while. And I think it's going to be across most of the leagues, if not all. But yeah, uh, Mr. Galloway, how are you doing tonight?
Well, I'm off work, so I'm doing fantastic. I've had a shower. I'm feeling fresh. I'm with two of my favorite people in FDL. I'm happy. Doing pretty good.
Heck yeah. That's what I love to hear. I mean, that's what FDL Central provides. That's what the FDL community provides as well. And speaking of which, we're going to be talking about some of the action that they provided last week. We're going to do a
Mhm.
little recap of the results from last week, talk about some matches that maybe stood out to us. And of course, we're going to be kicking things off with our Origin League. And that first match that we're going to be looking at is going
All
to
right, on
be
to the
the
next match.
Owls.
On to the next match.
The Owls taking down the Dragons in a sweep.
Didn't happen.
Definitely.
I was asleep. Didn't
Galloway, it
see it.
seems like you have something to say about it.
I definitely didn't have to stream my own team getting swept. Nope, didn't happen. I was asleep.
Oh, the double whammy.
It was a double whammy. I mean, in my team's defense, they had 20 minutes of warm up because of late work hours and sudden last second roster change to play. But I mean, that was a very solid showing from the Owls with Blood Wolf and Big Country. That's a fabulous A team and definitely one to look at to go the long distance. I think they played phenomenal.
Would you happen to agree, Chris?
I mean, losing in a sweep is always rough, but I think it's week one. You know, week one, you could say it doesn't matter because there's still 9 other weeks to make up for it. So like Dragons, they could come back and go 9-1. We saw the Origin Huskies do that last season. So like there's not a whole lot to take away from one bad result week one. I mean, Dragons, Angel, Koala, you know you're getting quality whenever they step on the field. So it's not a bad loss for them. I think, you know, Blood Wolf, Big Country coming right out the gates, a little bit faster, a little bit hotter. I don't think the Dragons are in too big of concern right now.
Yeah, I'd have to say I think I agree with both of you guys. I mean, week one, it's always good to start off on a win, but also a loss in week one isn't too bad. You know, you're not gonna not down and out. You're not out of the playoff races. You know, it's a good time, or it's a fine time to lose because then you can make corrections and you can only improve going forward. And I think with this win, Blood Wolf and Big Country were kind of just showing off what that duo could do. And I think for the Dragons, it showed also that there's plenty of room for improvement, especially going down the line.
Yeah, I would have to say, as one of my elite players just told me, we're just giving other teams a chance early
Oh
on.
yeah, I'm sure they
That's all.
said that.
Well, you can check and chat. Go Moto.
Oh, I
That
can't wait to get to Elite League.
didn't happen either.
Didn't happen.
I
What a
was,
fever
thinking-
dream this week was for the Dragons, huh?
Well, honestly, it was a mixed bag of results, but it wasn't bad. It was not a bad weekend overall. I feel like.
Going on to the next match, we had the Hydras taking on the Vipers and also getting swept in that match right there. Vipers taking down the Hydras 3-0. What are y'all's thoughts on that one?
It was a very close series too when you look at it because games 1 and 2 is a 1 goal difference. I didn't get to see this game. I don't think I did. I can't remember if I did. No, I didn't. And it was really close series. The fact that the sweep really didn't represent how hard the Hydras played. But Oyabun and Jordan and Mr. Pickles went up against unbeaten Amish. I mean, that's another tough combo to go against week one when you're still finding your team out. You know these two have good experience together on the Vipers, and it showed, man. They played well. And
This was one of the
like that.
rare matches too that we didn't have an A versus an A lineup. I mean, it's week one; everyone comes out of the gate with an A lineup. So Hydra's B against A, and they're still keeping it close. It's not bad. Especially Amish King. I think he played over in FTL. So he's learning the ropes over in FDL, how everything's done. But especially keeping it close to Mr. Pickles and Jordan. I mean, the Wombo combo themselves, almost as dangerous as Hex and Grand Chulo a couple seasons ago. I mean, this is a dynamic duo. I mean, losing in a sweep to them almost means nothing because they're most likely going to sweep anyone with that A lineup, is my kind of thinking. One of the hot contenders is the Vipers this season. So, I mean,
very possible.
Hydras, you lost a B lineup. I mean, oh well. You got 4 A lineups still to go, and that might put Hydras in a tactical advantage going forward. Vipers they're good. Being ranked at 6th is criminal, but they played a B lineup, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Vipers with that A lineup came in, did the job, got the job done against a B lineup. And I think it speaks well to the Hydras team, considering how well they were able to keep it with that, or how well they were able to keep it close with that A lineup. So
Yeah,
I think it spoke well to, it speaks well to both teams here.
Yeah.
And of course, for our next match, we had the Lobsters taking on the Hammerheads, and the Hammerheads with the third sweep of Origin League here over the Lobsters. I remember this match. It was on stream. Two Cool Dudes and KG taking on Suplag and Dill.
Hmm. I believe I was casting this one too. I can't. Was it with? Did I cast this one with you, Debbie?
I believe so.
Can't remember now, but it was a fun matchup to watch. It truly was. KG and Too Cool really came out swinging against Hammerhead's team. I mean, there's another sweep with another close 3 games. I mean, there was no more than 2 goals difference towards the end, and it was really for Origin. It shows why we love this league so much. Both teams played phenomenal. Hammerheads just were able to take advantage of it, picking apart the offense of the Lobsters a little bit better. But it's a fantastic game to watch and even better game to cast.
100%.
Yeah, go on.
Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, like, you're gonna get a lot of sweeps in Origin League, and Hammerheads with Suplag and Dylan, both of their performances brought them down to Origin League. Like, they weren't quite there in Expert League, so you know they're in Origin League. Like, they're supposed to be the top dogs. Both of them can play in Expert, but the stats from last season showed that they like really couldn't hang up there. So now they're down here in Origin. They got a lot to prove too. Winning against the Lobsters, it's a good start, but you know, you almost have the expectation for them to win. There's just too many good A lineups. Once we get down to it, almost all A lineups versus A lineups were all sweeps, other than when we get to Coyotes Eagles, which was an absolutely amazing match. But yeah, I mean, Seagulls, I don't know. I expect them to do good. I kind of built that team. Dylan was like, dude, I'm not going to find a team for FDL. I told him, man, go hit up Soup, and you go hit up the other person that's on their team that I can't, Destined. You go hit up him, and there's greatness there. And
Did you just say Seagulls?
Oh my god, he's not on the Seagulls!
That's the Hammerheads, Chris.
Listen, they're both gray. Dylan's on both of them. I mean, what can we say? Seagulls, they live
and
on. They're forever.
And they're both in aquatic situations.
Exactly.
Seagulls hang around water.
They're like the same thing.
I mean, essentially.
Fins, wings, they're like the same thing. They both go great with barbecue sauce.
Exactly. Give me some mango habanero on that, and I'm happy.
I feel like with this series, it was very similar to the Owls Dragons one, where it's like the Hammerheads came out, they showed off what they could do. Lobsters still looked good, even while losing, and I think that they're also that their peak still hasn't been met yet. So I'm definitely looking forward to both these teams going forward in the season, and especially if they get to meet again.
Absolutely.
And next, we have the Monkeys taking on the Huskies. And the Huskies coming out on top in 4. Chris, did you have any thoughts on this match here?
I mean, this one was close. It was right down the middle. I even was watching it back over with the Monkeys. And, like, all these games are 1 goal except for Game 3. When you're running a B lineup against an A lineup, too, that's a very good result. I'm not mad at the Monkeys for losing that. There's a lot to improve on, especially bringing in Dark and Vert onto the team this season. They're brand new to the league. Jam, who played last season, actually had a phenomenal performance in this series watching it back. I'm not worried about the Monkeys, but you know the quality you're going to get with the Huskies. I mean, this whole division is kind of stacked where you got Monkeys, Huskies, Eagles, and Coyotes. It's a bloodbath for who is going to make it to playoffs there, and I think we might be able to see all 4 make it into playoffs. It is right down the middle.
Yeah, and I really want to start off with saying congrats to you, Chris, for having the first team not get swept so far.
What can I say? Monkeys, we don't get swept this season.
Never heard of it. Never heard of it. Hasn't happened yet. Can't be proven wrong.
There you go.
Nah, that's a solid A lineup again. Like you were saying, it really is. Rec being new, up with Rec Jam. Like you said, played phenomenal last season. Or played good last season. It's just, I feel like you said, it was a really close, once again, close series. It just failed the Huskies' way, which Huskies is a solid team. I would not be upset at all if I was Monkeys. I wish I could have seen that game myself. Or that series, I should say.
Yeah.
I mean, when it comes to this series, I'm really interested in this Tubby Boy Hoodie King lineup because I mean we've seen Tubby Boy. He's a veteran to FDL. He's played on multiple different lineups, and he's always had pretty solid results. He's made playoffs a couple of times. Same thing with Hoodie King. I know Hoodie King has sat in reserve um, in the past few seasons, but they're still a player. They're still really good, especially in Origin. They competed in FTL, so I'm very curious to see what are the future results of this lineup, and not in any negative connotation. I just want to see what is the potential of this A lineup.
Yeah.
I think any A lineup in Origin though is gonna have, you know, it's just all gonna be who figures it out first, rather than like who has just built a super team. All these teams can build chemistry over the season, and I expect them to. Which I think this playoff race is not going to be decided until week 10. I mean, it's going down to the wire, and I'll call it. I'll say it right now. We're gonna get the worst record in playoffs is probably gonna be 6-4. I think it's gonna be that close, and the best record's probably gonna be 8-2 or 7-3. I mean, it's gonna be one game deciders all around. I'm looking forward to it. I think this is gonna be a great season.
Yeah.
I mean, if it's going to be a super competitive season, why not just make it so that everybody who gets into playoffs is like at 5-5?
Nah, that's a little too close. I don't want to do those tiebreaker scenarios. I don't want to
Listen
work
up.
overtime.
Listen, I like you, Debbie, but shut up.
All right. And next we have the Griffins taking on the Unicorns in Origin League. With the Unicorns taking them down in 4 games, we had a B versus A lineup. Galloway, you got any input on this one?
I'm not as familiar with most of these players, in all honesty. I know Yahtzee's been around. I know he was around last season, and then he was in FTL. Out of these 4 players, he's really, truly the only one I'm familiar with, except for a little bit with Kazumi from tryouts this season. It looks like it would have been another fun series to watch, truly. It's another very close game. So far, Origin has not been disappointing. Unicorns, I would have expected this to go into a game 5. Personally, I would have. I know there's a B lineup, Griffins versus the Unicorns A. For another B versus A, this is a great showing from the Griffins. It truly is. Burning Energy should be happy with this Origin team right now. And it looked like it just fell one way. The Unicorns figured it out quicker against the other team, but man, I would hold the head up high. I wish I could have seen this series. From everything I see about it, man, it just looks phenomenal experience to watch. Dang it, we need a B stream, Chris. I want to see more games.
Well, you're not gonna get a B stream because there's a fun little announcement tomorrow.
Jokes
that'll
on you.
tell
E
us
stream
why.
I'm on is a B stream.
Oh,
Sucker.
jeez.
Sucker.
I mean, this Unicorns. I think the Unicorns franchise altogether has impressed me. I mean, I love the Griffins. Yahtzee, I will never not support him because he is just a phenomenal player. But I think
And
this
you love his
Unicorns franchise, how the way Flam is running it, is absolutely phenomenal. All of them having good results this week. Especially Origin. You know, you throw it back to Season 1, too, that Origin Unicorns dynasty that had running. I'm thinking we could maybe see that run it back again in this season. Unicorns are getting restored to their former glory, and I'm all for it. The Unicorns hype train all the way, man.
Until they go up against monkeys, right?
Yeah. Then we gotta root against them. I mean, that's just how it is. You gotta hop the bandwagon when you know when to.
Get out when the getting's good.
Yeah, I mean we've seen multiple unicorn teams get pretty solid results all across week 1. I mean we'll get to the other ones here pretty soon, but I mean the Origin League team getting a good result here against Yahtzee, against Fritzen, the
Oh, hold up.
Griffins in general.
We were wrong. It was not a B versus A lineup. That was a C lineup from them.
See, yeah.
I apologize.
Yeah, I saw Burning Energy point that out as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, it was a C versus A lineup, so it's still a really good result, especially for a C lineup.
Absolutely.
But I have heard good things about these unicorns, so I'm just looking forward to follow-up results, especially once we get to that halfway point in the season and we can really get to see where teams are starting to place themselves. But with that being said, of course, we got to move on to our next match where we had the Coyotes go up against the Eagles. It was on a bootleg stream. Thank you, Mr. Southpaw. And we had this one going the distance with the Eagles coming out on top. Did any of you guys happen to catch that match?
When was
I,
that bootlegged?
I think it was happening during one of the streams for FDL, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I think it was
Yeah.
happening during Sunday. 'Cause I think I caught a little bit of it. I may be mistaken though.
But I mean, of course, Southpaw's going to be there for every Eagles game imaginable. I mean, he's not going to not be there for it. And getting, the boot, I swear, crazy things happen on Southpaw's stream. Good and bad, but it's always going to be a good time. And you know what? Mia finally getting a starting roster spot is one of the things that Origin League was not ready for. Because you know what happens when Mia gets the playoffs, and you know how dominating of a run she can put on. Once you get there with Zia, who played Expert League last season as well, I mean, good luck, Origin League. I don't want to say Eagles win it again because I'm tired of the Eagles winning, Debbie, but that is just a phenomenal roster. And Coyotes, I mean, for being new to the league, they really put on a show, too. I would not take anything away from this Coyotes team. It just kind of shows how stacked that division is. So, I mean, Eagles had to work for it, but I mean, you just know they want to retain that championship, Javi or not. Eagles, they will be in that playoff bracket no matter what.
Yeah, man. First game 5 series, like you said, it went the distance, but that's a very solid game or series there. I'm expecting great things from your team, Debbie. I know you're happy.
Yeah. Thank you guys for all that. But I was super curious going into this series. I remember I was casting for the mainstream, and I had to pull this up on the side and keep myself from yelling constantly as I would tune in and see overtime and see the Coyotes bounce back. But man, did they catch me off guard! Like you guys mentioned, completely new players to the league. I was kind of it was kind of like that little bit of nervousness. You don't want to doubt them, but you do want to go a little bit confident in in that match. So see, I'm just happy that my team was able to come out on top against them, but still hats off to the Coyotes who put up a phenomenal performance, and they got our fellow caster Conway Twitchy in the starting lineup as well. So, of course, we always got to cheer on for the boys. And with that being said, we got to move on to the Penguins, who took on the Gators. Penguins running into that match with a C lineup and taking down the Gators B lineup in 3.
Yeah.
Any thoughts, boys?
Man. I don't... Gators. I love the Gators. I really do. But this Penguins team, people have been saying it all preseason, too. This team is just dominating. They are just one of the greatest teams to come about in Origin League. I mean, 5-0, 8-3, 9-1. That's brutal to go against. There's no way around it. It is just it's good. I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing, like, will we have Penguins Eagles? I don't even remember the conferences right now. I don't think so. But I'm looking forward to see Penguins against some of the, A lineups that were like, all for. We will at some point get Penguins versus Eagles, Coyotes, Monkeys, Huskies. I mean, we've got a lot of good A lineups in this Courage Conference, and I kind of want to see where Penguins get tested then, because I think that's where they're going to struggle. I don't want to call this Gators team bad off the start, but I think when you just look at, you got the history of some of these other teams, like Gators, they haven't had great runs in Origin League, but they're always going to put in, they always got the heart to keep going with it, and I admire that out of anything. Penguins, this is your, I think, team to beat this season. I say that a lot about all these teams, but I think this Penguins roster is something of a different breed.
Well, I do gotta say, Chris, right now the Penguins are 100% at winning, so you might be on something. You have an excellent record right now.
I've got math behind me. How could I go wrong?
Exactly.
Like a little bit off topic, but the Penguins franchise is kind of onto something. They're like the only franchise this week where across all leagues they had like a lower lineup beat a higher lineup in almost every single one of their matches.
Interesting. I hadn't caught that.
Underdogs.
Yeah, Penguins an underdog franchise.
Let's make a
Possibly.
strong comeback. Let's go.
Yeah, they definitely know how to build teams, that's for sure. But speaking of, we'll have to move on to the Rams, who took on the Colts, and the Colts fought back, taking them down in a sweep. A versus B lineup right here, gentlemen. I think I'm gonna kick this one off where we had chronic illness, Hero Bear, Awesome Bill, and Is Medieval, all veterans, fantastic players from the Origin League. I'm surprised that this one ended in a sweep, in all honesty, and just because of the pedigree of all these players. I mean, I would have hoped for it to have gone to Game 5, but I think this is more so telling of that lineup and salary difference between these two rosters.
Oh, yeah. And, you're going to get a mixed match lineup when you get A versus, any, like, B or C. It's always going to be kind of one-sided. But especially with what happened in the preseason with the Rams, they having, find a lot of different players, hopping on and off the franchise. I love that they settled on Chronic, because I think Chronic is one of the best pickups you're going to find in this league. But, I mean, Medieval, Awesome Bill, their stats from last season were amazing. I'm looking forward to this Colts team. Harmonic, he built a good team here. He built a really good Colts team this season, and it just adds to the list of who is going to win in the end, because all these A lineups got some kind of, they've all got something going for them, and oh man, dude.
And not only that, they have a pretty solid reserve player too for the Colts. They're with Athic.
Oh yeah.
He's a pretty solid player too. So I mean, this I expect good things from this Colts team as well. I think they're going to be stampeding their way into the playoffs. I think they'll be another team that you could take pride in if you can beat them. Not saying that teams can't. I'm just saying that's a good win if you can get those. Which Rams, no, they did good against them up until Game 3. I think they just finally either ran out of gas or their coach just hit overdrive, man. But they did good as Game 1 and 2. They can hold their head up high on that.
Oh yeah, and Game 3, if you get scored on in Game 3, if you've tried everything, you've got to send it at some point. If you're putting everything into it, then losing 7-2 like they did, it doesn't matter too much, because it was either you had to overcommit and get every goal you possibly could to get control back in the series, or you die trying. And Rams, it's an all-in effort. Salary compliance lineup difference.
Yeah.
Most likely, if it's more impressive if you do beat an A lineup versus a B. If your B lineup beats an A lineup, that's more impressive in Origin League than any other league by far. So I'm not worried for the Rams. Like, that's just how it goes, and I think they'll be fine come the rest of the season.
Yeah, I'll definitely not take that away from him.
Yeah, I have to agree. But with that being said, let's go ahead and move on to Expert League, where we have the monkeys who took on the Hydras and were able to take them down in 4 games. Chris, I believe this match was on stream. Were you able to catch it?
This match was on stream? Oh, this was
No,
on a
it was not.
bootleg stream, wasn't it?
Bootleg stream.
Yeah, there we go. It
I
was on
didn't
bootleg.
catch it. I was doing something else at the
If
time.
I'm not mistaken, I think Redwater bootlegged it for himself, and I think Southpaw called it also. I think he streamed it. I think I got there for game 4. If I'm not getting mixed up with a different bootleg of Southpaw's, but it was definitely streamed by somebody.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't catch it, but just looking at the results, especially this Hydra's team, like Redwater, Water Dragon, that's a dangerous lineup. I mean, you saw Redwater stats last season. This dude is a menace on the field. He put up numbers like no other expert league has before. And
I had to face him in quarters or semis last season. Yeah.
yeah, he was an absolute animal last season, and he's going up against his teammate in Tamberlin. I mean, you know what you're going to get with Tamberlin. He's very consistent. Mr. Redbone, who won the Mixers last season for Expert League. There's a lot of faces on this team that have good results throughout FDL history. So this was like an all-star matchup, and
Yeah.
4. I mean, it's really close up until game 4. They're all 1-goal games, but I think that goes 5 any other day of the week. Just that game 4, maybe Monkeys just had a full head of steam coming off that game 3 win, so it's nothing bad against the Hydras. I think that lineup is too good to miss out on playoffs in Water Dragon and Redwater. I mean, that's Team Water right there.
And not to mention, they also have Kamikaze on their team as the third man.
Oh my
That
god.
that Hydra's lineup is actually insane, at least on paper. So we'll have to see. I think how well they're able to transition that into the league play, of course. Monkeys. I mean, this was a fantastic showing for your boys, Chris. Redbone, Tamberlin. I have a lot of respect for Tamberlin. I think he's a fantastic player. I mean, I had to go against him and Redwater on the Huskies last season, so hats off to those gentlemen. Uh, they're fantastic players, and this was a fantastic series, and I'm looking forward to these two teams meeting up yet again.
This season only gets better too, because all these first 3 weeks, they're all rematching at the end of the season too, and you know that the Hydras are gonna want that rematch. They are gonna be thirsty for it, and that week 8, there's a lot riding into that, because that is like the final race. That's the final stretch for the playoffs, and that series, it could eliminate one of them. There's no way that both those teams one or the other is probably gonna get eliminated. And I don't want to say it's Monkeys, because that would hurt my soul, but I'll say it's a coin flip when it gets down to it. The middle of the season, a lot of the time, people kind of brush it off because you don't play those teams twice. I think that middle point of the season is going to be the make or break. That is going to be the decider.
100%. And can we talk about this division right here? It's kind of crazy, Chris. It's the Monkeys, Hydras, Unicorns, and Eagles. 3 out of 4 of those teams were in playoffs last season.
Yeah! It's stacked again. We love spinning the wheel. I don't know how it happens, man.
Rigged with a K.
Hey, I just like that Monkeys are always going to be in stacked conferences. People can't deny us now, baby. They're like, oh, Monkeys, poverty franchise? Well, why are we in every stacked conference? Hey, we're winning. We lost to the best. What can we say?
No, there always has to be that one really messed up wheel on the shopping cart, Chris, and there you go.
We're the messed up wheel. Dang.
Hey, you set yourself up for me. I'm sorry.
But speaking of another stacked division here. We got to move on to the Griffins and the Penguins, where the Griffins sent their A lineup, and the Penguins sent their B lineup, and the Penguins came out on top in Game 5. Mayhem and Zyros getting it done.
Yeah, but it didn't take it, Griffins took them the distance, and on a reverse
Yeah.
sweep almost as well. Penguins came in that game 5 with a different mentality going into it. Mayhem, he's a phenomenal player coming into this season. But, Sir Chaka Squashy absolutely menaces. Sir Chaka made his moment in FTL last season. Squashy, he's always going to be good. Zyros, the quality you're going to get when he first joined the league. He's going back to that glory. Mayhem, one of the hottest free agents out there right now. There's no doubt in my mind that this would go to 5. It was just such a stacked lineup, and Penguins getting a win on a B, that's good. That's really good for them, especially with how good the Griffins look as well. So that match, the rematch, is going to be something else.
Absolutely, man. I'm looking forward to it, and it's just I can't wait to see how the rematch comes too. Like if it's the same teams they're going to throw up against each other. Like I want to beat this team, or if it's just going to be another mix-up of lineups. This is a repeat match I want to watch, or a repeat. That works.
Oh yeah, the
English
rematch.
hard.
The rematch needs to be streamed somewhere. I mean, the Eagles, we got to play against the Penguins in one of our preseason matches, and that's when we found out. We were like, oh, this Penguins roster is legit.
These
they,
guys.
All the
they're
Penguins
them.
rosters, they came to play, man.
Yeah,
Flushy
so-
knows how to build teams, and I'm scared for it now. Oh boy.
I mean, it's quite impressive for the B lineup to get the win against the Griffins. In my opinion, I think the Griffins look stronger on paper. Sir Chaka, Squashy, and um,
Yeah, hobby.
Javi. There we go. My
No
boy
way you're
Javi.
forgetting Javi, Debbie.
Bad
I
GM.
forget about him all the time. I just look at the trophy he got me, and I'm like, all right, that's all I care about.
Who gave me this? Who cares? I got a trophy. It
Destin
shines.
got you the trophy.
Yeah, Destin got me the trophy. But yeah, I mean, fantastic Griffins team, fantastic Penguins roster. My biggest question was how Zyros would be able to handle that transition from Origin into Expert, and it looks like he answered it here. Being able to clutch up in Game 5 against an A lineup, I think this Penguins team is going to be pretty scary.
Oh yeah, I mean power
Yeah.
rank number 3 for a good reason too. Um, yeah, I don't think Penguins is any slouch if you're trying to play them. I mean, that's one of the lineups that you're gonna debate whether you even try to throw an A lineup against them or you just throw away a C on them. And Penguins, I don't know. It's a rough call. Teams are gonna make that call. I'm not gonna. Good on me, but good luck everyone else.
Yeah, that Zach Penguins team, Zyros and Mayhem, we got the scrim against one time. It was a fun scrim. It truly was. So I'm looking forward to seeing how this Penguins team does the rest of the season. Especially with Zyros, or that not just Zyros, but that lineup there. I think that's gonna be a good B team lineup.
Absolutely. And speaking of which, we're going to be moving on to the Lobsters going up against the Dragons. Galloway, your boys right here, going the distance on stream and getting it done. How'd it feel to see that match go on? I believe you were streaming it, no?
I was streaming it because they had to sub in last second, literally last second for the 8 o'clock stream slot, and I tell you, it was a great thing I was not casting that night. Because if I was just sitting there muted with my mic going, yeah! And just get frustrated. And I tell you, man, it was so back and forth. I thought my heart could not handle it. And then Game 5 happened. And Game 5 did not happen with the Lobsters just trying to throw everything at it and just couldn't get something to stick. Game 5 was cold. All of a sudden, not missing open nets anymore. That's right. I'll call you out, Coldzilla. You learned very well from me, so I'm calling myself out too. But he stopped missing the open nets. He started hitting this everything that I know he can hit, and then just Raccoon snapped. And this was a very solid team from the Lobsters too. Doc and Lasagna, man. I was very happy with this team. I was very impressed with them. They did great. It's just, it's just Game 5 Dragons team snapped, and dude, that's just, if you're any other team and you see that Game 5, you worry. Because that's their peak of playing together. That's them snapping and just nothing going wrong. If they can continue to get that consistent, even just as a B team, that's pretty scary. Speaking of scary B teams. Doc Lasagna, that's a great A team, man, but I'm just happy for my boys. I'll take the win.
Yeah, but Lobsters, they're also really, they're lowballing on that A lineup too. They've got a 13-3, a 13-1, and then I think like a 12-8 or something. So they're kind of that A lineup. When you go up against other players or other teams that have like a 13-8, like the Dragons, I mean, there's a different quality. Like there is mostly gonna be more synergy, I think, when it comes to a team that plays in more middle pack salary. And I love middle pack salary teams. I think it's the way to go. But you always get that one player at a high 13 sal or high, sal for the league. They're always gonna bring quality. But Coldzilla, highest MVPR for that game. Absolutely phenomenal. He was doing great in the showcases, and they're, Dragons, that's a massive win for them, too, especially against an A lineup. But it is also weird to see, and I want Stats team to be on this. How many Game 5s have ended 7-2 this week? I think that's the third one, and we're not even through Expert League. This is kind of a strange scenario. I would love to see that.
It's all coming together, Chris. Don't worry about it. We may have repeated scripts for some teams. No, don't worry.
The writers are getting sloppy, and by writers, I mean myself. So
rigged with the K.
It is. You've been doing this for 9 seasons. You kind of start reusing it. Like, oh yeah, they'll like this again. They haven't seen this 4 times week 1.
So hear me out. It'll be even better the 5th time. It just keeps getting better.
Then they won't expect it the 6th time.
Honestly, they expect you to change? Nah, hit them again.
Send them back to the well. If you've ever seen that one, like, me sports pitching thing, I'll have to send it to you guys later. Oh, that is what it reminds me. Oh, jeez.
But
jeez, Rick.
That being said, we do have to move on to the Coyotes taking on the Rams, where we finally see not only one C lineup, but both teams sending out their C lineups, and this one ending in 4 games in favor of the Coyotes with DeSaro and Nerdy Elderly. Do you guys have any opinions on these rosters?
On the rosters?
The rosters, the
they're
match.
fair. They're fair. The match. Everyone's got above a 4.0 MVPR. They've all got around 2,000 to 2,100 score. This game, it was so close. And maybe the Rams in that game 3 having it 8-4 bumped up a lot of those stats. But that game, it was all 1-goal games other than that game 3. That is a phenomenal series on paper alone. And that is the games I love to see. I don't think that one was on stream. Quote, tell me if I'm wrong, but if that was going to be one of the matches that would have you on the edge of your seat the entire time, excuse me. So, I'm very impressed with the seed lineups playing against each other. Ending in 4, criminal. But the quality within those 4 games was better than some of the game 5s we had this week.
Yeah, I don't even think we've seen all from this team, either one of these 2 teams yet either. I don't know much about the Rams roster. I don't know much about either one of those 3 players. But we scrimmed the Coyotes, and man, I tell you, I think the Coyotes will be a team that will catch players off guard too. I think there'll be a lot of just, we weren't ready for this, and I think that'll really benefit them too.
A classic Coyotes.
Yeah.
If you look
Unsung,
at I was gonna say, if you look at a lineup with Unsung as a starting player, and you're like, hey, I think they might be bad, just know that you're wrong.
Yeah, you're just wrong.
Just know that you're not allowed opinions for the rest of the day.
I mean, there's 2 teams or 3 teams I'll say that are always inevitable in Expert League: Eagles, Coyotes, and rest in peace Hornets.
Oh my God.
Hornets had a good had one of the more dominating runs in FDL, but Coyotes, Eagles, you're always gonna get quality with them. Gators too. I'll put Gators up there as well. Rip Bozo Kin, but hey, you're always gonna get some good matches with those 3 teams.
Don't worry, I'm working on the dragon so we can join Debbie. I'm working on it.
But speaking of which, we have to move forward to the Unicorns. Took down the Eagles in a sweep. I mean, hats off to the Unicorns, of course. Days and Adam, with Mari leading them both as a GM and captain, I believe. So they they came out, did a fantastic job. Their B lineup got the job done against our C lineup, took us down in a sweep. I mean, yeah. What were y'all's thoughts on this one?
It's just a clean win for the Unicorns. I mean,
Mhm.
Nick not having the greatest of series, just looking at the stats, but I mean, by the looks of it, Unicorns just came to play. I don't think there's much else to really determine from that. They were hungry for the win. I said the Unicorns franchise was good this season. I wasn't wrong. They're out for blood.
They've been gone for so long. They should make a strong showing, dude. And
Yeah.
honestly, this Unicorns team really is going to be a hungry team. Like they will go into each game, and I feel like can just really push you. Whether they win it or not, who knows? But they're going to push you each game. I feel like, and with Adam as the captain of the Unicorns team, he's pretty solid for a 12-2 salary too. He's been in this league a little while too. He knows. I think he was expert last season as well, with Mari, so he already has that chemistry with her. I mean, that's just they're going to be a hungry franchise, and it looked like it was a rough night for your Eagles, Debbie. I still expect great things from this team, especially once Unseen starts getting into the mix and starts being seen by everybody. But it's going to be a strong Unicorns team as well.
The game was really late at night. You know, my tummy ached.
The sun got in the eyes.
Mick had to go walk his dog. You know.
Oh yeah.
Womp
No,
womp.
but
Not
seriously, the Unicorns had a fantastic game, especially against my boys. I think it was just an off night for my boys. Hopefully, they bounce back in their upcoming one. But I think we'll save the conversation of that one for later. We'll have to be moving on over to the Owls. We took on the Hammerheads, and in our second Game 5 victory, or Game 5 series of Expert League, with the Owls taking the victory. I believe this one was on. Yes, this one was on stream.
Was this one? I thought, wasn't this the first match of the season?
This was not.
No, this
No.
was on a
Southpaw
Thursday.
streamed this one.
Oh, okay, that's right. That's
Oh,
right.
there we
Southpaw
go.
bootleg this one because I came into cast and I got to the end of Game 5 for when I joined them, so I got only see one game of this. And this is where I can finally point out, Origin League, Owls was the first team to get a sweep.
Yep.
Of all franchises or leagues. And then Owls once again first team to get a reverse sweep, an expert. So hey, you know what? Good job, Goob.
Yeah, I mean,
Not
first
bad.
match of the season when you get a reverse sweep, you know it's going to be a good season.
Yeah.
It's like Groundhog Day. You know, the Owls, they saw the shadow, they reverse swept. You know it's going to be a good season. If you get a sweep for the first one, you know it's chalked. Go next. We'll be back for
Yeah.
season 10 if that happens, but hey. I'll save the season right there. So, Goob, live your 20 seconds of fame. But yeah, I mean that's a phenomenal way to start the season. That's a phenomenal win for the Owls too. A lot of new blood to the league too in this. I don't think J-Dog is the only one that's played in FDL. I mean, he played in FTL and it was a reserve last season, I think. So a lot of fresh blood. They were all new to it. Way to throw them in the deep end.
Yeah, J Dog came in. I think he came in as reserve, but then he got moved to starter towards the end
Yeah.
of the season. And I've always been a J Dog fan as soon as I first saw him, and just played with him for fun. I've always been a fan of that guy, so I'm really expecting good stuff from this Owls expert team, truly. And this is pretty solid Hammerheads team too. I mean, it was just a very strong two teams going at each other for a very close series. I mean, each game was 2 goals or less different. It was just no good job to the Hammerheads. You played a great game, but Owls just reverse sweep. That's kicking it off strong for them too.
Yeah, I feel like the I feel like the Hammerheads are a kind of like slept on team in Expert League because King Haas played in FTL
Mm-hmm.
season 2 right there, and he did a fantastic job. I thought he was a fantastic player in that
Mm-hmm.
threes lineup. So seeing him take captaincy here for the Expert League Hammerheads and build a roster, I'm like super curious to see how they'll do in league play here in twos. But I mean, if they're able to go to game 5 against what I think is a really strong expert lineup with J Dog, Slay, and all of them, I mean, we scrimmed them. We know they're a good team. So I think as we've reiterated multiple times that this is going to be a really competitive season.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Speaking of which, we got to move on to the Vipers taking on the Gators, where the Gators were able to take down the Vipers in 4. Chris, you got any thoughts on this one?
Kid's not playing. I can't root for the Gators anymore. Vipers, you gotta step it up. Gold Scope, I know you've won the 1v1 Titans, man. You just gotta, you gotta do it. You gotta win. Tron Rex, I know you're good. You just gotta win, man. We can't lose to the Gators, guys. If Gators win any games, let it just be week 1, and we all stomp on them in protest of Kin, okay? He broke my heart. He was gonna be an FDL champion someday, and now he's not playing. Kin, why? Maybe I jinxed him too many times. I don't know. It might be my fault, but hey, that's a good win for the Gators, especially Ninji coming back playing in the league. FaZe Phantom, first time they're playing as well. It's a good debut. Really close series though. I mean, not all 1-goal games, but back and forth enough to make it competitive. It's just a good game. I mean, standard, but proud of the Gators. They're getting a win. They're trying something new after 9 seasons of the same thing. So not bad. Not bad.
Yeah, I can see, just knowing from experience with both Gold Scope and Tron, I'd be willing to bet they were not ready for the aggressiveness of the Gators.
Yeah.
And not like demo aggressive like they're known for, but just the aggressiveness of just pressuring. Even on defense, just pressuring. Not letting you get set up, which Gold Scope does best when he's on the ground, is setting up. And it's just, I think that's just a very well done job by the Gators here.
Yeah. I'm hoping that I'm able to catch the next Gators match on stream because I'm interested to see a FaZe Phantom play. I mean, he's a high for Expert League 13-8, and I think that warrants kind of that level of pedigree that Chris was talking about earlier, where they bring that extra oomph to their teams. And I'm very curious to see if FaZe Phantom if that's what he's bringing for this Gators lineup, and if that's something that we can look forward to. I know, Chris, you're not really looking forward to being a fan of the Gators, but
Nope,
maybe FaZe Phantom is that guy for the Gators and can help lead them to maybe a playoff run.
No.
Wait,
No.
here's something, Chris, that might save it for you. Ken's the captain of the Gators team.
Nope, doesn't count.
Well,
I
it's
will
better than
never.
the
If
Vipers who don't
Gators
have a
win this
captain.
season and Kin doesn't play, I will be the most furious person in FDL. And a new villain arc will start. We're already on like number 16 for me. Like, we gotta stop this. Like, Kin, you gotta lose this season. And if I jinx it so that he wins this season because I want him to lose this season, then I'm gonna be mad at myself and go to the next match. Oh, jeez.
But on to the next and final match of Expert League, we had the Huskies taking on the Colts, where the Huskies swept the Colts, getting it done in 3 right here. Black Laser and Wally Hutt Jr. taking down Lil 22 here and Edge. Any thoughts on this one?
Did
There's a
Raikkow play as well?
there's a weird one from what I've heard where like an emergency sub-in was needed.
Okay.
I
So-
heard that was the case. I don't remember the full story
I'm
now.
trying to wrap my head around
But-
how they all got 2 games then, because that one of them should have had 3. So I'm kind of confused just by the statistics alone, but
I'm trying to remember from what the
So
ball chasing had on there and what the story was.
yeah, I think the Colts played all 3 of their lineups.
Yeah, take that. And still wasn't enough. Good job,
Colts, what we
Huskies.
doing?
That's-
What are we doing, Colts? How are you gonna play every lineup and not win a game?
What in the world?
Hey, we only said Harmonic made good teams.
Hey, we didn't say competent teams, just good teams.
Oh man. Wally Hutt, man, when was the last time he played? He played a while ago. No, this is his first. I'm thinking Wally. Okay, never mind. Oh, there's.
Yeah, this is his
Oh, Wally, you got my hopes up, but you're not him. Well, not. Oh, jeez.
You heard it
No.
here first. Chris said Wally Hutt Jr. is not him.
He's not him, but
He's not the guy.
him. You know.
He's not the guy, but he's a guy.
Yeah,
Oh.
Wally. Okay, the previous Wally, I guess, of FDL won Origin League. So, I guess Wally Hutt Jr. You have a little bit of a legacy to hold up here.
Hang on. Wally Hutt Jr. of Wally OK. Now, hang on. This can't be a coincidence. If we get Wally Hutt Jr. winning this season, Wally OK was a one and done, just win and dip. Wally Hutt, if you are the same way, I might have to think you're the same person. There's nothing in my mind. You might be his son. I don't know.
Listen here, conspiracy with the K. Put your sleeves back on and calm down. Calm down, sir. I think we're safe.
Oh,
We're
man.
safe.
Yeah, but yeah, I'm interested to see both of these lineups going forward. I mean, Lil 22, he makes playoffs like almost every single season that he plays in Expert League for some reason. Like no one ever talks about him and the team that he's on, but he always makes playoffs. So like I'm at this point where like I don't want to doubt him because he's consistently proven everybody wrong, regardless of what lineup he's on. And then the Huskies, the Huskies in general as a franchise have been really stepping it up, especially last season. They had fantastic rosters, and even though I feel like they kind of branched out this season, picking up a lot of newer players to the league, I still expect nothing less from the Huskies franchise in terms of results.
Yeah, they've definitely elevated it last season and this season. I think this Huskies, whatever Hoodie King concocted, it is working, and it is working to success. So, you know, kudos to them.
Oh.
I mean, I hate Huskies, but can't deny that they're building some good rosters now.
Hey, Huskies are a beautiful dog. It's hard to argue against a beautiful dog.
All right. And with Expert League done and out of the way, we're going to be moving on to Star League. And we're going to be kicking it off with the Colts taking on the Vipers here. And the Vipers getting it done in 4. We had Harmonic himself taking the field this time with Semphis. And I think this match was on the mainstream,
Yep.
if I'm not mistaken.
I want to say that's correct.
It is.
I don't-
And it was very close. I mean,
Mhm.
it was back and forth. You didn't know who was going to win until the very final second dropped. I mean,
Yeah.
it was down the middle. I mean, even the goals, like an average of above 3 goals for each team. Learn to play some defense first off, but hey, absolutely phenomenal series, especially Harmonic. He's got Suitor in him. That's a dream team that I don't think we've ever seen play before. And then we also got Semphis. I actually love that pickup in Semphis. I think he's a phenomenal player. Haim Game, Ray. Haim Game has played in here before, right? No? Okay, I'm losing it. I feel like so many people have played in here that haven't. Ray played. No, he signed up in Season 6, but didn't play. Yeah, these that's all. That's just good players all around in that lobby.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I want to say, was this also on the night that stream? I know I didn't cast it, but I was watching it. It was a fun game to watch. Like you said, it was just a nail biter, not knowing who was going to win until the last game or the last second of it.
Yeah.
And it's just, I'm fully expecting great series from or season from both of these. It'd be very interesting to see how the Vipers go for the rest of the series because they didn't have their C player in Lack, which I think some people will sleep on him a little bit, especially with him not being as known. Well, he might be known to some people, but to the FDL itself.
I
And
was gonna say they still
yeah,
have Black on that lineup.
yeah. I just mean to say, I think people will not be. After this, they might be ready for the Vipers a little bit better, but I just think Vipers can catch people off guard and just they'll play a solid game.
Yeah,
This is a very solid series to watch. It was absolutely fun, and it was just so back and forth, man. It was so good.
yeah, it was definitely a good series to watch, and even though the Colts took the loss here, I think it was still a really close series, like we all mentioned, and that they can still continue to improve. And I'm definitely looking forward to that duo of Harmonic and Doomster, or even if they bring Blue Mars off of the bench to sub in for a game, that'd be so hype considering he's a bit of a veteran in FDL.
Never heard of him. Then again, I think it's what last time played was what season 4 according to the website. I wasn't here until like season 8, and I didn't really know anybody, so never heard of him. Get wrecked, nerd.
But speaking of which, this next match did have somebody we know, somebody we've already spoken about, Burning Energy with his Griffins taking on the Rams. Unfortunately for him, this one went in the Rams' favor in a game number 5, but nonetheless, I think this was still an impressive showing for the Griffins because they had to use a reserve for this match right here. And
Yeah.
they still took it all the way to game 5.
Yeah, which, if I'm not mistaken, this was still a technical. It was an A lineup sub in, so it has an A usage, but not truly an A. It would be a B.
It's like a
team, or
B plus usage.
yeah, it's like a B plus, which is still a very strong showing because I like these players on this Griffins team. It's just a very the Browns just played well. Won. No, very close. Game 4 kind of got a little bit away from the Rams, but they came back, won Game 5. Solid showing from the Rams. Goldfish, Brandon. With I'm trying to remember who their third player is. Bondo. It's a solid team. I think they're ones that will go into the later half of the season, and I think that's when they'll start really just showing teams, hey, we're making it to the playoffs. You're not stopping us. Griffiths, I think, we'll be looking at them saying, no, well, we're probably going to make it. I think throughout the entire time we're going to be looking at them like, yeah, they got this. They can make it. Maybe I'm just crazy though. No. I thought it was Galloway, but I'm not. I thought it was Galloway, but I might be crazy.
I mean, this Rams team, I think there's a lot of good expectations coming into the season, and Griffins taking them to 5. It's a good result. Not the A lineup that you would want to play, but still a good result going against what people might consider top 2 teams right there. Griffins, you're gonna get good games when Burning Energy steps on the field. He knows how to build a good team. He's done it before in FTL, so pulling it out here against Goldfish and Brandon, that's not a bad result by any means. I mean,
No.
Game 5 and 1 goal difference. You can't sleep on that. That is down the middle.
Yeah, I mean, this was a really close series. Despite the little oddity with the lineup, I mean, fantastic showing from both of these teams, and like we've mentioned, I mean, I think they're both just gonna do really good, and I'm looking forward to a rematch between these two teams, especially later on in the season, because then that's when everything gets fun and there's playoff implications, and we get to see maybe a preview of what will happen in the playoffs.
One
And
can
with that
only
being
hope.
and with that being said, we're gonna move on to the next one with the next matchup with the Huskies taking on the Penguins. And the Penguins C lineup yet again getting it done against a B lineup in 3 this time.
I'm kind of disappointed in the Huskies for this one. Painter and
Yeah.
Kovius are two phenomenal players, and
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe it's just Penguins came out hot week 1, but I kind of had higher expectations for the Huskies. It was a very close series. I mean, 4-3, 4-2, 4-3. It doesn't get closer than that. I feel like they could have pulled out a game, a win there somewhere in there, but
I mean, it could have gotten closer. It could have been all 4 threes.
yeah, that's true. I mean, could have been 4-3, could have been 3-4. We could have went back and forth that whole time, but Penguins, they got the rosters this season, man. Every single one of their teams is lethal. I think they might be on the road for winning a couple chips this season if Penguins continue this way, because I don't think you
Yeah, I
can
mean,
sleep
they
on
still
a
have
star.
Bowser on that Penguins roster.
Oh my god, yeah, champion
Yeah.
from last season. Great.
Yeah.
Woohoo! I forgot about him. Now he's all a champion here.
Man, I really was just kind of disappointed because, like you said, this is a very solid Husky team. Fender and Kovius. I'm really sad. They played great though for it to be in such a close series. It is a sweep, but sweep doesn't reflect how well they played.
Yeah.
Like I'm not disappointed so much as I'm sad for them, man. I feel like they deserved at least one of those games to go their way.
For how close that series is, 3-0 doesn't do them any justice. I feel like the result will definitely, be like a little bit hurtful to them, but I think they could look back on that series and have a lot of good to take away from it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. And with all that being said, we got to move things on to the next matchup with the Dragons taking on the Hydras. This one going the distance, but going in favor of the Hydras with their B lineup taking down that C lineup. Galloway, did you want to take things off?
Wait a second.
Yeah, Dragons won that, you nerd.
Yeah, Dragons won.
Wait. Oh my! Wait, hang on.
When the script doesn't match it. Oh, jeez.
When somebody changes
A
the script to
botched
sabotage my team.
Oh no!
I'm trying to sabotage my team in the scripts, but I ain't letting it happen.
The script is
been
actively getting edited. No, yeah, my apologies there. Yeah, the Dragons did take down the Hydras in Game 5.
Yeah, that was a C team versus a B team too, which don't say as much whenever you get to the higher leagues from away from Origin, but I still feel like that's a very good showing. I was very happy with my star team here, especially because I know Yukio Takeda. He's a very solid star player.
Oh, yeah.
And Silver's been around for a while too, and you know he can perform. And then we got Rita, who was with Bowser, if I remember correctly, last season in that championship.
Not in the championship, but on that team. Yeah.
On the team, I mean.
Yeah.
With Gecko as a new person as well. I was very happy with my team taking it to Game 5 and winning it. It just... Yeah.
It's very weird to see this, though. Like, Hydra's had a higher average score per game. They scored more goals, but they don't come away with the win. It is a very bizarre thing to see. Like,
it's very bizarre.
Hydra's, when they win games, they're just, lights out on them. But when they lose games, it's really close. So this Hydra's team, they lose in Game 5, but the stats are in their favor. I don't think...
Yeah.
Like, Dragons getting that win, you could probably call that criminal. to come away with a win on the Hydras having good stats,
Well, let's
but
not
they
get too
pull it
crazy.
out. That's the big factor. They get the
Let's not,
win.
let's not get too crazy.
We're not calling you
Criminal
frauds
fuck.
yet, Galloway. The fraudulent will come like week 4 or something. So we can hold on to this one.
I don't want to hear the subterfuge from the Chris with the K. It was a very back and forth. If you looked at how the games went, because
Oh, yeah.
Hydras won by 3 first game, then the Dragons made it close, win. Then the Dragons kind of pulled it away in game 3. Then the Hydras pulled it away game 4. Like, it was a really back and forth kind of series to the fact where it's distant, close, close, distant, close.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a very good showing. Hydra's showing they're going to be a strong team, especially when they start throwing their A lineup in there. And it's just, it might be because I'm the GM of the Dragons, but wait until we start getting our B or A team in there. Wait and see how that goes out too. But nah, I was very happy with this series with my team. I always want to be supportive of my team, but that was a great Hydras. It was very close. It could have gone either way, and I'm happy my boy pulled it out. Never doubted you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you guys have a good roster, and I'm looking forward to seeing like how the Dragons franchise in general performs this season. But with that being said, let's move on to the next matchup of Star League, where we have the Owls taking on the Hammerheads and taking them down as well in a sweep, which I think this kind of came as a surprise to me. Um, with these lineups. Not trying to take anything away from the Owls. I just thought that at least one of the games would have gone in favor of the Hammerheads.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the Hammerheads, you got Torsten, won last season. You know, I think. I don't want to say they played bad, because I didn't see it. But I also feel like Cody on that Owls team. Cody's one of those players you won't talk about a lot. But he's going to be like Lil 22. He's going to be always there, consistently doing his thing to get wins. And he is one of those players that you're not going to see coming until it's too late. Like, once you're not thinking about him, then it's just right there, just right in your face.
It's like one of those, not sneaky per se, but the one in the background make it, from what it sounds like from you, I don't know them that very well, but it sounds like one of those players who will, without him, the formula falls apart, but with him in there, he don't shine, but it works.
Yeah.
He makes it happen. Which I love players like that. I absolutely love them. They just
Sounds like he's great at facilitating plays.
See this man and his Theosaurus. That's why we have him around.
Well, his roots were with KC on one of KC's final seasons, so Cody
Yeah,
knows
the
how to
unicorns.
he knows how to fill in on that role.
Yeah. Casey, Cody, all of them, OG unicorns.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, yeah, I've heard good things. I mean, we know good things about Cody. Let's see, Skylar here. Is Skylar new to the league?
Yes, maybe, probably, yeah.
Yeah, they are.
One of those answers is gonna be right.
Yeah,
Yes.
Atomic returning to the league. Goob does know how to make really good. I think higher league teams, her star teams and up always seem to make playoffs, and at least one of them is guaranteed to win a championship almost every season for some reason. So I think this Owls roster is still gonna do good. Like you mentioned, I think maybe it might have just been an off night for the Hammerheads. I've heard good things about Snack Pack, especially with them being a 14 sal, and with the experience of Torsten, maybe it was just an off night for them.
Yeah.
Al's never heard of him, especially in Origins. Never heard of it. Throw it back to me getting swept.
Next, we're going to be going to the Coyotes taking on the Monkeys here. This one also going the distance. Coyotes coming out on top. It was a B versus C lineup, but I don't know. I mean, I still think this is a solid result for your boys, Chris.
Oh, absolutely. The boys are back in town. Jack, Rizm, Frank, I mean, one of the dream teams ever made in FDL. The boys, they were not upset losing in 5 anyways. Like, that was Rizm's first match back in, I don't know, 3 seasons. Jack, he came off of a, not a great season last season, but it was in one of the more stacked Star Leagues we've seen. So I think this is a great result for them getting back into it. Just Slane is what I'm looking at right now. 700 score per game, like everywhere on the field. He had what? Yeah, I mean, he was just everywhere on the field. The MVPR tells it for him. The stats very close with Ada, but I mean, absolutely performed out of his mind in that one. But the Monkeys, this team is gonna have a good time. I'm all for it. These guys, they're clowns. Frank Carnival, the circus is here, so we're looking for a good time.
Yeah, and Galloway, what do you think about the Coyotes roster here?
I think they have one, and
that is one of the rosters of all time.
It is definitely a roster that has happened at one point in time.
I mean, we heard Chris. His team is for the vibes. Maybe they'll pick up some wins along the way.
I wish I loved anything as much as Chris loves talking about his teams. Like you can just feel the pure joy about his team, and which is, I don't know Slane as much. Ada, I know who got moved up. Wait, no, yeah, Ada was in Expert last season, was he?
Yes, yeah, he was on the Monkeys last season.
So you would be the one to know. And then you got Kenny, who's returning for the Coyotes, who I think was like one of the only surviving members of the Star team last season. So he's back stronger. He should be able to lead this team from strength. But it'll be interesting to see how this Coyotes team continues on. And,
I'm just hoping they break the curse, the Star Coyotes curse. If you know, you know.
If you know, you know.
I don't think so.
To find out.
I don't know who's gonna go, but I don't know.
Debbie, didn't you see the script, man?
We'll see, man. We'll see what happens there. I don't know, Debbie. You're asking a whole lot of this season, man. There is one thing that's been inevitable for 4 seasons in a row now. I don't know, Debbie. That's a hot take right there, man. That is a hot take. It is on fire at the core of the earth or on the surface of the sun.
Well, let's move on to the Eagles against the Unicorns. This match was on stream. I was able to cast this one with my boys taking down the Unicorns. In 4 games, it was our A lineup versus the Unicorn C lineup. The Unicorn C lineup was a lot stronger than I expected them to be.
Oh yeah, Unicorns had a phenomenal showing here against the Eagles. Like, this Eagles team, it's good, but it struggled against the C lineup. I mean, granted, the wins, they were 7 goals, 5 goals, 5 goals, but still, like, Unicorns kept it close. They were able to put up goals in games 1 and 2 and get a win in 3. Like, I think it was just, maybe Unicorns just finally ran out of steam. The pressure just kept mounting on them. But for a C lineup, that's a phenomenal result. I don't want to take anything away from the Eagles there, Debbie, but Unicorns, they've had good rosters so far, and I think Finer, I'll say it, he's one of the better players in this league. And Timmy B wears jorts. I mean, how could you go against a name like that, man?
Honestly, dude.
I don't wear jorts, but I support a jorts wearer.
And I don't wear Timmy B, but I stand it. I stand him. But he had this Suns fan club too, and you can see why, man. He played well in their games. It was a solid Eagles team they went up against. It was, you said they're 18. They did very well against them, man. They did.
I felt like almost every game, it was like the Unicorns would start off all the scoring and maintain the lead up until like a minute and 45 seconds, and then Yeet and Lurk would score like 4 goals. They were just like, oh, hey, we're supposed to win this game now.
Yeah.
But it would always stress me out. Because I was like, oh my gosh, the Unicorns, they're keeping Yeet and Lurk out. Like, this is Yeet and Lurk. Like, what? This is our C lineup. But hats off to them. The Unicorns did a fantastic job. I'm happy my boys were still able to go up there and get the job done. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to the continued play of this Unicorns roster as well. I mean, if that was their C lineup, I'm looking forward to the B and the A lineup as well.
Yes, especially once you start throwing Ray in there. That'll make things interesting.
Oh my gosh, Debbie, I need to send in this next match because, oh, we've got a tradition broken for a tale as old as time. Stoobs and Robot Man, the band is broken up. It is Tai Tai and Robot Man now, and it doesn't ring off the top of the tongue like you would want it to. Oh no. It hurts. That's like a season 2 to season 8 team that we just it's gone. It's gone forever, and we're not gonna get it back until Stoobs de-ranks out of Elite League. Sad days. Sad days.
Yeah, Motions isn't on the Gators either.
Oh no! It can't be. This Gators. Expert Gators, Star
Stoobs,
Gators. What's the
Motions.
point? Dead franchise.
Starting.
Dead franchise.
Robot Man isn't Congress anymore.
Oh no!
Just
wait,
when we
no.
want to love the Gators, we
Yeah,
hate.
that's... No, but I mean, regardless of everything that the Gators have lost, I mean, they still this lineup or this roster on paper, this still looks really strong.
Oh,
Robot
yeah.
Man, Hayes, and Tai Tai. I mean, that's a pretty solid squad. I can't believe they had to do it to the Lobsters like that, sending in their A lineup against the C lineup. I want to see that Gators A lineup against another A lineup.
Yeah, I think that'll be the testament because, you know, Robot Stoobs, they had the chemistry. But last time Tai Tai played, it was with Harmonic. And Tai Tai had phenomenal stats. Absolutely the biggest upset I've ever seen was that Colts team not making playoffs of Tai Tai and Harmonic. So I'm hoping Gators, they've got a really good shot at a really good playoff run. I would not be surprised. Semifinals or higher for their end of season result. I think this tie, you know, Robot Man wasn't happy about going up to 14.7 salary, but I think he's doubting himself. I think him and Tai Tai, they're going to do a lot of good work together, and I'm looking forward to this. Hawkish Bondo, rest in peace. That's the old League Ops club there. I mean, Hawkish still on League Ops, but Bondo, rest in peace, bozo.
I mean, speaking of the Lobsters, I mean, what are our thoughts on this roster? Because I'm not exactly sure what to think of these players. Because it's like they all have potential, but are they gonna use their potential? I think is the real question.
That middle pack in Star League is brutal, man. A middle pack team in Star League is kind of a rough one to build. I mean, I've been trying to do it for a very long time. It just doesn't work. You've got to have like 2 pop-off players and then 1 really low sal to be successful in Star League. But I think they'll get good wins. Ollie, I know, can always play a very strong series. Hawkish, we saw his run with the Hammerheads last season. Phenomenal. Or not Hammerheads. Yeah, it was Hammerheads. Yeah, very good run all around.
Yeah, I mean, I would have to agree, and I feel like I think the Lobsters. I feel like they took like they lost a couple of matches here in our week 1 across a couple of leagues, but it's like the Lobsters. I feel like we haven't been able to talk about the franchise and its success ever since like it's been created. It's been kind of they've had good playoff rates. And now that Tyler's taken over, we've shown that the Lobsters still aren't done yet, and they continue to provide good rosters. So I'm curious to see how this Lobsters roster ends up doing. And with that being said, we're going to move on to Elite League. Mr. Chris with a K.
Woo!
Your league right here.
It is going to be my league because I'm going to win it all this season. if I don't, I can't. Listen, I always said if I win, I'm gonna retire, but I can't retire if I don't win. So I hope it's soon. But no, this Elite season. I mean, week 1. It was really close, except for that Vipers team. That Vipers team absolutely dominated. But this Rams Gators lineup, that was a great series. 1 goal every which way, Debbie. I mean, how could you know? Man, I mean, J-Dub Solus versus Tyler Marked. What's that? 2 seed lineups. Yeah. I mean, it's weird. You got both matches in Elite League were C versus C or A versus A. Like,
Yep.
that's a really weird. And what's even better, it was both conferences. Like those two matches that were C lineups against each other was the one conference and the other one was the other.
Yep.
I don't know. Elite League is a phenomenon this series.
I will say it feels a little bit weird for me now looking at Elite League like matches and not seeing the Eagles in there. Because I think I've had an Elite team like every season except for this one.
Yeah, but you're a good guy and you gave it to Gators because of Stubes going up, so we respect that.
Yeah, sure. We'll say that's why.
We stand Debbie.
No, yeah, but I mean, oh, I just lost my sheet here. Okay, there we go. Yeah, I mean, I'm super excited to see this Gators roster. I mean, Marked, Tyler, that's just their C lineup. Tyler being a forever Eagle. He was one of my former players. He's been on one of my expert teams, one of my elite teams, or 2 of my elite teams. And so I was a little bit sad when I had to let him go here. But I think he found a perfect home with the Gators roster. And, I mean, getting a win in week 1, I think that's good. But I want to see how J-Dubs bounces back from this.
Yeah. I think this is, Elite is 8 teams and 6 playoff spots. It feels really weird because Elite League's always has been like 12 teams. So a lot of this, like 1 team from each conference is going to miss out. And I don't want it to be Rams. Like, J-Dubs has been doing so good in Elite League. I don't want to see him lose out because I think his roster is very good. Elite is so evenly matched this season. I don't know who's missing out, but we're going to have upsets end of season.
100%. But going forward, of course, we had the Owls going against the Vipers, which was that other C versus C lineup you mentioned. We had the Vipers winning in a sweep. I know there was something weird that happened with this one. What was it? I heard that Reese had to sub in. Yeah.
I think something happened with Rainy Day because all of a sudden they were online, and then boom, out of Rocket League, off of Discord, it's off of everything. I think their Wi-Fi just completely died. Don't know if that's the official story of what happened, but I'm pretty sure that's what happened.
Cat unplugged the router.
If we didn't have spy cameras in every FDL member houses, you should have read the sheet when you signed up, folks. For the spy cameras, probably said it happened, but nah, it was another weird game where a sub had to come in for emergency, and oh crap, I closed out what I was on, but there's another team that played their entire roster and it just did not work out.
No, but Reese is saying this C lineup is top heavy A, so I'm thinking Vipers. They had to rebuild. Thunder wasn't playing this season, so they had to rebuild, and I think that a lot of these rebuild teams are working really well. It seems we're losing the old guard, but I think they have found suitable replacements.
Yeah, I would definitely have to agree with that. I mean, all these newer franchises, newer GMs, I think they're all doing a fantastic job.
Oh, thanks,
And-
man.
Well, not you. Your Dragons lost this week.
Uh, we can skip the next one, right?
Now, for this next one, do any of you gentlemen want to take this one away?
I think we should let Galloway speak first.
Nah. You always let the one with the most hot air go first, so it's not as steamy afterwards.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But we did have our monkeys taking on the Dragons in a championship rematch for week 1, and this time with a different result, the monkeys taking the win in 4. Chris, this one
It,
had to feel good.
it didn't happen.
It didn't happen.
I was kidnapped, couldn't see it, didn't happen.
That's the copium talking, okay? But I mean, listen, the age-old classic. I don't think there is any two players that have played against each other more than me and Prosperity. It's always fun playing against him. Win or lose, I never have, a bad game against him. I always feel like it's always fun no matter what it is. And I'm just glad he's still playing as long as I have, because that is season, like, we have got the highest stats ever and played against each other. It's always fun playing against Prosperity. So, it is a little satisfying winning against him after, losing last season champions, but I definitely feel like Dragons, they'll bounce back. JDS is a phenomenal player. Prosperity, I think he just has to find his footing with JDS, because Prosperity's always played with someone that he kind of understands how they play. So once the season goes along, this Dragons team is going to get better. I just think that, they might have caught, me and Myrtle, we were just really aggressive against them. They didn't know how to fully stop it. So I think if they're able to pull it back on defense, they're going to be they're going to be a top 2 team in that conference.
Yeah, they're still finding their strides together, and they played a team that was really doing good with Chris and Myrtle. I mean, I would not take that against the Monkeys. They played well against my boys, and I'm still proud of my guys. I know they'll bounce back, or else, but they'll bounce back.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm in.
Let's bulldoze through these matches, Debbie. I forgot it's a
Let's go.
Friday night. We've got FDL. We got actual FDL matches coming up. Penguins Griffins, Debbie. I mean, Penguins.
A versus A. Fantastic lineups going all the way to the distance. I mean, I think it was really surprising to see the Penguins with that salary disadvantage take it the distance.
Oh yeah, I mean, Penguins. Flushy always has a team in Elite League that's under salary and still always performs. He is absolutely goated at being underdogs, and one of these seasons he's gonna make it to playoffs, and it's gonna shake the ground, but it's just gotta happen. I think Flushy, unfortunately, when there's one spot, someone's gonna miss it. It's gonna be brutal, but I think this could be his season. Someone else is gonna miss out on playoffs. I just really hope it's not the Monkeys, because I know how stacked this Elite division is. So it's gonna be close. Master League, though, Galloway.
I just want to say one thing for them, man. Penguins lost, but when they won big.
Oh yeah.
6-2 and 9-1. But it's the Master League going to the Huskies and Griffins. Another reserve player was played for the Griffins this time. Griffins won though. And
Well, this one was weird. Just to shed some light
Yeah.
on what this was, the result actually was a 3-1, but they didn't save those last 2 replays. So Huskies.
Bozos save replays.
Yeah, and then the Huskies were like, we don't want to play them again. So Griffins are like the team to beat in this Master League, but Huskies, they didn't want any more smoke. They already had their chance at it, but they were done after those 4.
Moral of the story here, folks: save your replays. even if you're on stream, save your replays.
Yeah, I
All right,
definitely
Debbie.
had to tell my boys that one where they took on the Rams on stream as well. Danger and Mafia taking down the Rams in 4 games. They also forgot to save the replays, and I had to get them from someone else.
But well, to be fair, this is a dangerous Eagles team, but both of these players are new to the league. They're
Yeah.
completely new. You probably neglected as GM to tell them they were not. They probably just didn't think about it, especially with it being on stream. So it's just another reminder. So, okay. we always say free plays. Rams did a good job. It was close except for the first game, where the Eagles just blew them out, and then the Rams found their stride, and then they took it the second game. It's just, it's the Eagles team to watch out for sure.
Oh yeah, I mean they won that Master League tournament before the season started too. So
Yep.
I think this Eagles team is going to be the one to rival the Griffins. Absolutely, Debbie, you picked up the winners of the tournament. Congratulations, you won your own little single elimination bracket. But we'll see. Owls Penguins. I don't know too much about this match. I won't lie. But, you're always going to get quality with Vulcan, right? Like, it's just the GOAT.
He's been,
Yep.
from my understanding, he's been a long time Owls memory. He just, he did well leading the team.
Yeah, and now he has a 19-3 Sal teammate, which is a little scary to think about.
Which he outshot his teammate too, so outscored, I think.
Oh my gosh.
What a guy.
And then Penguins, of course, with Connor Cox, veteran to FDL. He's been, I think he's been having pretty solid seasons these last couple of seasons here. I lost the link that I had right here.
Well, we'll go into it for you while you refine it, you nerd, with the unicorns and monkeys going at it in Game 5. Chris, I'll let you lead us off here.
I like this Monkeys team. I think they're gonna do good. I think they gotta get into a. They're a good threes team. I think the transition to twos is gonna be a little bit of a step up because it's a lot faster pace. But unicorns, I'm impressed. I think Insanity and J Pablo, I believe these teams played in that Master Tournament, and it went to the longest. I think it went to 3 or 5, whatever that series was. I think that both these teams are good. I would hate to see one of them miss out on playoffs, but I think it's got to be one of them. So unfortunate, but I think both these rosters are. I would say either is an underdog. I mean, Drew and Squab, Insanity, and J Pablo, all new to the league. Drew, he used to play with me back in Season 3. You know what Season 3 was like, Debbie? That when we had 1,700 to 2K players playing. That was me and Drew,
yeah.
and we made playoffs every time from Season 3 to 4. I mean, he knows what it's like, but gotta get back into it is the thing, especially with how stacked the season is getting.
Yeah, and like you previously mentioned, I mean, another unicorns good roster right here. The perfect example. I mean, unicorns continue to provide good rosters, and I think we're gonna continue to see that going forward.
Well, and Debbie, I know we have the predictions, but I don't think we could get to them now. I did make in the background a little predictions spreadsheet in the production folder. You can thank me later. That we can all fill out, come back next week and we'll see, who's actually picking things, right. So we could get that done and we could post those in that FDL Central tab for every news that, what the topics are going to be, what, get discussions going. People can say, Chris, your takes on who's going to win week 2 are criminal. Hey, it's just going to happen like that. But, yeah, guys, we're running close to stream time, but do we have any final remarks?
Let's go Dragons versus Unicorns at 8 o'clock. Origin League, let's go Dragons. No bias at all.
Of course, I have to say thank you to everyone who tuned in to tonight's episode of FDL Central, your source for all things FDL. And of course, keep an eye out for the next FDL stream where you can come in and cheer on your favorite teams and players. And speaking of which, we have some upcoming FDL action starting off with Origin League. We'll be having the Dragons taking on the Unicorns starting right here at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. You don't want to miss out. And of course, thank you to our production, our streamer for the night, or streamer for this episode, Mr. Chris with a K. And thank you, Galloway, for coming out tonight and lending your wonderful talents to not only me, but the rest of the community, of course.
My pleasure.
Oh, that was the outro,
Everyone.
wasn't it?
Yeah.
Were we just going to transition off that? Okay, let's go now.